Hi, this is Naomi Rodriguez, and I'm here with Francisca Sneed interviewing her about the Liberation Coalition organization in Austin, Texas. So, Francesca, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Francisca, as you already said, but I go by Mecca. I graduated from UT Austin with a bachelor's in sociology, and I have been a member of Liberation Coalition for almost 2.5 years, I think.
And Mecca, can you tell us some more about Liberation Coalition?
So Liberation Coalition was formed at UT Austin in 2019, I think, the January of 2019. It was originally created to kind of bring together the anarchist left and the Maoist left in Austin. But as time went on, we kind of found our footing as our own individual organization. So really our mission is to, instead of bridging the gap between those two groups, our mission now is to kind of educate working class people on leftist theory, more specifically Marxist theory, and also give them opportunities using these other groups in cities, wherever we're in, to bring that theory into actuality and to actually give people the opportunity to change their material conditions using this theory that they've been reading, so that we're not just reading together for no reason and just talking about it and sitting in our armchairs talking amongst ourselves, because that doesn't really do anything. I think theory is only
Can get you so far.
Yeah, it's only really important when you are actually using it to do something. And that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, so first question. What made Liberation Coalition want to expand into San Antonio?
Honestly, the main reason was because I graduated and then moved back into San Antonio, where I'm originally from. And the same thing is the case with our other chapters in New York and Dallas. It's just because we have people there who are willing to start up their own chapters. So that's how we ended up with the San Antonio chapter.
So question 2. What are the goals that Liberation Coalition wants to accomplish in San Antonio?
I think the main goal that we would want to accomplish in San Antonio is kind of amplifying the voice that the radical left has in San Antonio. It seems like Austin has a much more vibrant scene for the radical left, and I think it's a lot more subdued in San Antonio, so I think we'd want to bring that out more here.
Okay, so next question. Will there be a different approach from how Liberation Coalition organizes in Austin to how we'll organize in San Antonio?
I kind of think that's a necessity, since they're two different towns, so there are different material conditions. So I think in San Antonio, we'll probably rely less on focusing just on college students, although in Austin we do focus on everyone, but our main focus is on the grounds at UT. So I think in San Antonio, there should be more of an effort to kind of talk to more working class people rather than just students. And yeah, so I think that would be the main difference between organizing in Austin in comparison to San Antonio.
Okay, so next question. Are there plans as of now to expand into other cities, and if not now, in the future?
We're always willing to expand into other cities as long as they're we have people in those cities who can organize there. Right now, we have two new chapters opening up other than San Antonio, and that's Dallas and Rochester, New York.
Okay, so question 5. What would you say is the most common way that people find out about Liberation Coalition?
The most common way, I think, just generally is online. So we're officially registered at like UT Austin, so people find us through their website, but a lot of people also find us through like social media, like our Facebook and our Twitter. And other than that, like other than the online aspect, I think a lot of people find out about us through like us tabling and putting up flyers around just the Austin area. So yeah.
Okay, so question 6. Does Liberation Coalition seek out new members, and if so, how?
So we do seek out new members in a variety of ways. Probably the most basic form of outreach that we have is tabling. So essentially we'll just like set up a table on campus and people will come up to us and we'll explain to them what Liberation Coalition is. We'll answer any questions and just like try and get them into the org and come to like our events. And that's where a lot of people's interest comes from. But I think like the second biggest thing is like at any events, we'll have someone who has like some sort of like clipboard, I guess, and they'll just be like coming up to people and like talking to them and like taking their names and information and just keeping them updated about our like upcoming events and like study groups and stuff like that. And then through keeping in touch with another member, that kind of like keeps them in the loop, and eventually usually they become an actual member. So there are those two ways. Our actual like member like process is online, so people will generally just fill out an application and we basically just interview them and talk to them, and if they're cool then they can join as a member. It's pretty easy. There's no like really specific like ideology requirements.
All right, so next question. Are the majority of members in Liberation Coalition current or former university students?
Yeah, I would say most are current or former UT Austin students.
And can people who are not university students join the organization? And if so, does Liberation Coalition make an effort to reach out to these individuals?
So absolutely anyone can join Liberation Coalition as long as they want to work towards the message that we want to give out. And we do make an effort to reach out to people who are not UT Austin students on social media. But it's a bit hard to reach like actual working class people on social media because obviously when you work like a 9 to 5, you're not always
accessible.
Yeah, it's not that accessible to them. So that's what we're trying to work on, like how to reach like actual working class people in addition to students who are also working class, you know?
Now, for the next question, I wanted to ask, how has the COVID-19 pandemic impacted Liberation Coalition's organizing efforts?
So the pandemic actually made organizing really hard for us. Most of the things that we do are in person, so like reading groups, direct actions, they're all in person. And after the pandemic and like quarantine and stuff like that, everyone had to move inside. So we had to move our organizing online, and we just found out that in general people don't really like meeting online, and it was really hard for people during that time in regard to like work and school. So people couldn't really focus on organizing on behalf of other people when they had to focus on themselves. So that was just a really hard time for us. But right now we're focusing on moving back into doing like more in-person things, and we've seen a lot more activity with people interacting with the group and also within our own membership.
Now, for question 9, I wanted to ask, what made the Discord application attractive to use as the organization's primary mode of communication?
Discord is just like really easy to use, to be honest. It's not secure like at all. So we don't use it for anything that is like
important.
Yeah, that you wouldn't want cops to hear, I guess. But in regards to like being easy to use, like it's super helpful. We can create tons of channels for like the different projects that we're working on. And also something that's really helpful is that we can have like a side that's just for members and then a side for like everyone else who wants to interact with the group and like just like talk to us at any time.
So like even if you're not a member, you can still kind of be a part of it.
Yeah. And I feel like people really enjoy having like that sense of like community with other leftists.
Okay, so last question. What made the inclusion of educating one another within Liberation Coalition such a major part of how you operate as an organization?
One of the major things that, Liberation Coalition is not a vanguard party, but one of the major goals of a vanguard party is to kind of like educate the masses. And when you're educating people, especially people who may not have the privilege to like have gone to fancy, like academic classes and like be reading scientific papers, like the leftist theory that we have to read. One way to really help out people is to read the text together and then bring it down to words that everyone can understand. And having that done by people who are your peers and have the same like life experiences as you is really helpful, because leftist theory is kind of thought of as being super complex and outdated.
And inaccessible to the average working person that doesn't have like a university degree or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So honestly, you don't even have to read it, but like when people come to our reading groups, sometimes they don't even read the text, but just like hearing us talk about it and explain what is being meant, like people understand it. And although they may not understand like the exact words that are being used, they understand the ideas that are behind them, and they can get behind those ideas and rally behind them.
So, Mecca, thank you so much for your time today. I'm so glad that we were able to talk about Liberation Coalition and how it's expanding into San Antonio and also other cities. I just wanted to ask one last thing, how would UTSA students be able to join? Do they have to contact someone specifically? Could they contact you? And if so, how?
So the easiest way would be to go on any of our social media, and on there should be our link tree, and from there you can join our Discord server. And once you join our Discord server, all the information on becoming a member and even like meeting us, like all of the members of LibCo, are in there. And yeah, it's that easy.
And do people just find you like at Liberation Coalition?
So our Twitter is LibCoUT Austin. We're Liberation Coalition on Facebook. Don't remember our Instagram name, but they're all connected because they all are connected by the link tree. So I'm just saying, find the link tree.
Okay.
Just find the link tree.
Okay, so thank you so much, and I hope you have a good day.
You too.